Hello, everybody. I'm Brian,
I'm Brian.
and this is Brian versus Brian, episode 187. Spaceman. Brought to you by Netflix and what the hell was the name of that bug bomb? Boomba.
Yeah.
Released February 23rd, 2024. Netflix exclusive with the Adam Sandler deal they got going. Man, he pumps a lot of Netflix movies out,
Oh yeah.
and they're kind of fun. I like what he's doing. Based on Spaceman of Bohemia, and well, we don't have anything about a budget or nothing. I'm sure it was pretty expensive. Premiered at the 74th Berlin International Film Festival. Received a limited theatrical release. And we got Adam Sandler as Jacob. He's like he's a Czech cosmonaut, but he doesn't do an accent at all.
He like comes in and out of it. Like sometimes you get a hint of it, but then most of the time it's just
I couldn't tell. I was like, is he doing an accent? It sounds like
yeah, it's kind of weird. I think his wife is kind of not really doing one either. Carrie Mulligan. Yeah.
I don't know. It's like future. It's obviously the future because we can go to like Jupiter. Maybe accents have gone by the wayside. We're all homogenized. I don't know. Hello, I'm on the spaceship. Hey. Okay. And we got Paul Dano in the surprise performance. If you haven't known anything about it, and then you hop in. I didn't know anything about it. Then I saw this little trailer somewhere that showed him, and I was like, "Oh man, I kind of wish I wouldn't have known that. That would have been a nice little surprise."
Yeah, I went in completely blind and I didn't know any of that. I just knew it was Adam Sandler Space. That's all the only reference I had. So yeah, when Hamas shows up, I was like, "What the fuck? Where are we going with this?"
Hanoush! So, what the hell did they call that thing? The fucking celestial body he's going to check out. Chopra. The Chopra cloud.
Yeah, that's
a
right.
mysterious form of dust beyond Jupiter, and you can see it from Earth, and they don't like it. What is this thing? We're going to send someone over here and check this out. Just beyond Jupiter. And I think it said his mission would take 2 years total, something like that. So it's just him in a spaceship going there. Pretty much just got his wife he talks about. What the heck was her name? Lenka. And then Paul Dano as Hanush. And pretty much the only other person is Peter, who talks to him on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
The technician.
And the boss lady, I forget what her role was. She's like the leader, the manager of the space station.
So, what do we're up in space, and I can't remember. I think do a little bit before, but I think one of the very first kind of things is her sending the message, right? That she's leaving him.
Yeah, he does a conference or like a Q&A real quick, and then I think he asks about his wife after that call, and I think Paul, is it Paul? I think he just said his name earlier. I think it's Paul. Says like, yeah, we're still trying to get a hold of her, and then we find out that his wife has sent a message saying that she's kind of done with him, but he hasn't received it yet, and they're trying to figure out kind of how to handle the situation.
Yep. And they're not going to tell him. And he's kind of spiraling into some weird emotions because he's all alone out there, and he hasn't heard from his wife. She won't answer his calls. They have a I forget what they call it. The
Czech connection, I think it was called.
Czech connection, which is pretty much like that old arcade game, Hang On.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a spherical thing you sat in and it could roll, but it's a telephone. It's a faster than light telephone that they can talk. I don't know why they need a faster than light telephone when the radio seems to be instantaneous.
Yeah.
Like just the little radio on his lapels, like they're communicating back and forth. It's not waiting for a response, and it's about this big.
Yeah.
It's
Which I
not
thought was
this
kind of
giant.
cool. I was like, oh, that's kind of a neat idea. I mean, it's basically Star Trek pushing their chest, but I don't know. We're so used to
Yeah.
movies that are like kind of, yeah, you have to send out a message and then they have to wait a week or whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah, instantaneous.
And everything is pretty realistic on the ship. It's pretty small.
Hmm.
Kind of looks like the International Space Station stuff you've seen. But then they have, yeah, that little tiny radio that is a little bit more futuristic.
Yeah, it was kind of confusing from like the set design. The set design screams like 70s. So it's hard to tell. And like every time he calls somebody like on a mobile situation, the phones they have aren't smartphones. They're like this kind of blocky. So I'm like,
Hmm.
is this the 70s? But in the 70s, we didn't have the technology to get to Jupiter. So it's like this weird, is this like an alternate universe type of thing? So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and when they go back, they show scenes in the Czech Republic or Czechoslovakia. I don't know how
Yeah.
those are different time periods of the country. I don't know. Not big up on the Czech stuff. Um, it seems like 70s. There's like
Uh,
a color saturation to it where
yeah.
mute blues and orange,
Yellows. Yeah.
yellows.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you would see in 70s film. Yeah, so I definitely noticed that too. Like monitors that are like beige yellow and stuff.
Hmm.
So, and he's having trouble sleeping, and I love that. Did you take your sleep drops? He goes in there and squirts some drops and eats them and tries to sleep, but he's waking up by the
Hmm.
goes into the toilet and the hose is sucking. The toilet's still broken. Peter, the toilet's broken. And, we'll try to fix that, but the cameras come first. Yeah, all the cameras are dying mysteriously, malfunctioning on the ship. Uh,
And he's like the sponsor of all of these. Like I think he's on the box of the sleeping pill, and there's a couple other things that he's
yeah,
on, and that was kind of funny.
and then we finally get the reveal of Hanush, and this is a spider. And how does it reveal him?
I think he's in the
Did he?
bathroom fucking with the hose because he like hears the hose malfunctioning. It's like a really loud noise, and
Yeah.
I think he goes in there one time to mess with it, and the spider's not in there. Oh shit, spoiler. But then he has a dream of like a spider coming out of his mouth. And then he wakes up, and then I think there's a noise, and so we're like he goes back into the bathroom to fix the noise.
And he's in there. Do not be afraid, Peter, or Jacob. I don't. He doesn't call him by name, does he? He does do not be
Skinny
afraid.
human.
Skinny human. He hasn't seen many humans. Adam Sandler wouldn't classify as a skinny human
Yeah.
necessarily.
Timothy
Far skinnier.
Chalamet, that's a skinny human.
Yeah,
Adam
yeah.
Sandler, I don't know.
It's a girthy human, and he sees it, and gets scared, shuts the door, and he calls Peter. Peter, yeah, you have a secret camera in the bathroom? And then he kind of hesitates. Yeah, it's for safety, of course. Turn it on. Turn it on. It's malfunctioning. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
It's the first one that went down.
Yeah, and then he's like, and he starts talking to it, and he's like, "Are you real?" Yes, I'm real. I'm as real as you. I fled my planet Dracadia 7. It was eaten by the space insects. Oh, he does try to when the spider comes out of the bathroom the first time, he's like on the ceiling and he's like just backing up and it's talking to him, telling him not to be afraid. And he puts himself in the airlock and suits up. And the Peter guy's like, "What are you doing? Why are you suiting up?" It's like, I'm getting some strange readings. We're gonna need to clear the ship. We're gonna need to set off the bug bomb, and then I have to clear it with command. And then it's like, they'll do it, but you got to say the slogan.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, Bug bombs kill everything.
Yeah.
Boomba kills it all. 99.9% of all bacteria, even in space. Okay, we can do it. And it's not like they're going to use that audio because he said
Yeah,
it so
yeah.
shittily. So he just made him say it. And then bug it out. And
It's
he
almost
goes
like a
back in.
contract they have with that company. Before you use it, you have to say the slogan.
And then he goes back in. And he's still there. Comes out of somewhere. He's like, do not worry. What do you say? Your disinfectant spray caused me no pain. And yeah, it's pretty much just him talking to this space spider, who you start to really like,
Yeah.
and he names him Hanush because he needs a name. He says, I've never had a name before. Would it make you feel better to name me? Yes, it would. And I think Hanush, he said, was the guy who invented the atomic clock.
Yeah.
But then whatever happened to him? Uh, and then I don't know. By the end of the story, it's like, well, he might not have existed. Okay, okay. And
Yeah, it's like a fellow explorer like burned his eyes or something because he felt threatened. Whatever that story was. Yeah.
yeah. And so Hanush says that he was traveling through space, escaping his planet, traveling through time and space now. And he said that he was attracted to Earth, and then studied it and learned all of your languages. And but it wasn't enough. And then I found you, and I was drawn to your loneliness. Why are you so lonely? And he's maybe I can help you. He's like there to help him with his emotional problems.
Yeah.
Um, so he keeps like putting visions in his head of his wife and his life. Says, are you doing this to me? No, these are your memories. But you're fucking playing them in my head right now, right? well, I'm doing that part, but the memories are completely yours. And then there'll be like a time where it's like his wife had a miscarriage before. I think he was on a different mission and he wasn't there. And he's like, how am I seeing this? This isn't my memory. Yes, it is. I wasn't even there. I didn't even see it. But you were told about it, weren't you? You created it in your mind. It's like, okay. So Hanush is kind of trying to help him work through his emotional problems for some fucking reason. He gets some gratification out of it. Showing him his problems, saying, if you claim to love her, how come you would quickly leave and risk life and death and not be there with your child? And
Yeah.
the Dano guy does a really great, ominous space
Oh
spider
yeah.
voice.
Totally.
It's really good. Um, and
It's
then
like really compassionate too. Like it makes you
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh yeah.
totally. And there was that other great scene where I think he's eating, right? And what did the spider want to try?
Oh shit, I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember what it was.
Damn, he wanted to try to eat something. And damn. And then he's like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. Oh yeah, it was eggs. He's like, do
Eggs,
you have
that's
any?
right.
Do you have any embryos of the avian variety? What? And he's like, you eggs? Yes. I would love to try to consume them. I would love to taste them. No, we didn't bring eggs. They don't travel well. He's like, oh, what a pity. I've heard of these eggs. It's like, here, you want to try and consume this? And it's like Nutella.
Hmm.
Mmm, this is thick and creamy. It reminds me of the lava of my home planet.
Yeah.
And he really takes a shine to this Nutella. Oh yeah, and I think that's also the point where he like tries to, are you real? And tries to reach out and touch him. It's like, what the hell did the spider say? No, like my tribe doesn't participate in that. The body is sacred.
Hmm.
Please do not touch. He's like, okay. And then, yeah, he's going through the therapy sessions and whatnot. And, um, yeah, he's like, you loved her so much on that first day. how come on the day you left you didn't love her the same? And all
Mm-hmm.
this stuff. And you knew she was alone when you lost your first child, but you chose to be away during the birth of your second. How
Mm-hmm.
many times must she uh, listen to your lies before she stops believing you? It was only a matter of time. And then by the end, he's like, I thought I could help you, and I thought like you were worth helping or something. I see now that you are not. And it's like, I am tired of this. I'm leaving. And then says he's going to leave. Uh, all the while, the like commander goes and talks to the chick. Like, why would you leave him when he's gone? Just wait till he gets back. And she's like, no, not waiting, dog.
Yeah.
Should have left him. Should have left him before.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacob is really trying to get a message to her. And finally, he starts to totally realize what he's done. And through the lessons of the spider, and what an idiot he's been. And they lose all communication when they get near the whatever the fuck that thing was called, the mist,
Yeah,
the
the pink
Chupra,
mist.
the Chopra cloud, and one of them comes in to the ship. It's like it's made of these
Oh
tiny
yeah.
little floating particles, and he tries to catch it. You cannot contain the Chopra. You cannot be contained. Tries to put it in a Tupperware. That'll work. Just floats through. And he's like, "What is it? Ah, your tribe's words could not explain its
Yeah.
wonders. It is everything that was and everything that will be.
What?
All of time is imprinted on this cloud." And the communication goes out. He creates like a phone. He doesn't really create it. It's already made. It's just kind of he plugs it in. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, look what I did. It's like, yeah, you plugged in this phone. It's like a really long landline he's floating through the thing with,
Mm-hmm.
and calls that guy on his cell phone. And you're right, he answers on like an old school cell phone. Oh my God, what's wrong? How's the ship? And he just immediately goes to like the ship and the mission more than him. And then he says, "I need you to bring a message to uh, uh, his wife, who I'm once again forgetting her name,
Lanky, Lanka,
Lenka."
Lanka.
And so he does, and you think it's going to be just a written note that he said, but he just like puts down the phone and calls him. Here you go.
Yeah.
He just wants you to listen, and then he gives a pretty heartfelt speech about if I could do it again, I wouldn't have left, and I don't deserve you, never did. If I could, if I could relive it all, I'd do it better, but I can't change that now. I just hope you're there when I get home. I love you. Goodbye. And then, it's pretty heartfelt. She's starting to rethink things, maybe a little bit. Uh, what? There's not much to it. Then they get to the cloud, and then the spider's like, I lied to you." About what? And it was like, oh God, here we go. It's gonna be some like, it's gonna eat him or some shit. And
Yeah.
he's like, no, my planet. I told you I escaped my planet because it was going to be overrun. It was overrun, and the bugs are in me. And like you see something under his skin moving or something, I think. And then explains to him that he's gonna die. And was that before he left? Because that did he leave because of that, or I thought he was leaving because he was just kind of done with trying to help him,
Yeah, he's
right?
from what I remember, he's trying, like you said, he's trying to get Jock up to, make things right with his wife and make things right with some daddy issue shit. And at one point, Jacob doesn't want to do something that Hamash wants him to do. And so he's like, okay, well, if you're not going to listen to me, if we're not going to have this dialogue, I'm out of here. And then once he tries to make things right with his wife, I think then he reappears. And then when they get to the cloud is when I don't remember how he ended outside of the ship, but He ends up outside of the ship at one point.
Kind of like phases through like a
Yeah,
window
I think
too.
so. Yeah.
So you never know if this is quite real.
Hmm.
Any of this is real. There's no other evidence of it being real. No other human gets to see this. And he floats out there because he's gonna die. These little bugs are taking over his body. Um, and he goes out there, and now uh, Jacob really loves Janos. No,
Hmm.
Hanush! No, don't go, Hanush! What are you too good for your home? And he suits up and goes out there and he grabs one of the Boombas. the fucking
Hmm.
the bug bomb. Goes out there and chases him down. And it's just a bad idea. In space. Tries to squirt it on him. It, but then you it's just blasted back and spinning through space. And it gets a little bit on him, but I think for an effective dose, you probably would have needed a little bit more than that. It just kind of hits him a little bit.
Which is funny because we already established that thing doesn't do anything earlier,
Yeah.
like you were describing that scene. Yeah.
Well, it didn't hurt him, but I
Yeah.
was thinking, yeah, maybe it will work because now the bugs are kind of like coming to the surface or something. Now they're
Right. Right.
manifesting. I think
Yeah.
they were kind of like growing and not quite there yet in the beginning. So I was hoping it would work, and it doesn't. And he gets with him, and Hanush kind of hugs him, and they float through the fucking. Or no, he blasts him, and then he kind of gets thrown off, and he's okay with it. He knows he's probably never getting back to the ship. He's like, ah, fuck it. He's out there, and then the spider comes and kind of grabs his hand and swimming through the space and bringing
Hmm.
him not back to the ship yet, but kind of like through the cloud. Let me show you the cloud.
Yeah.
This is the cloud. This is your mission. Complete the mission. And Jacob kind of looks around and says, "This wouldn't be a bad place for it to end." Kind of, they're. He thinks they're kind of doomed to die in this cloud. And then I think Hanush is kind of like, "Yeah, I might, but I don't think you will."
Yeah. This is not the end, my skinny human. This is just the beginning.
Take the lessons you have learned. And then they go through there, and he's kind of looking at time and space, kind of swirling around. It says everything and nothing all at the same time.
Hmm.
Oh, it's beautiful, Hanush.
Your present,
I
past, and future.
yeah. And what was his dad? It was like a informant for the Communist Party or something.
Yeah, I think so.
He's always been ashamed of that. And oh yeah, I think Hanush earlier was like, you think you can absolve your father sins by doing great things. And what does he say? Jacob says, "Father, I absolve you of your sins,
Hmm.
and me of mine." And then Hanush, beautiful. Loved that moment.
Yeah.
Loved that moment. And then they finally make it through, and Hanush is talking to him. It's like, no, the bug bomb didn't work, buddy. I don't have much time, but we have a little time. And I don't remember kind of what they talk about at the very end. Um,
Yeah, I don't
oh,
remember either.
he thanks him. Jacob thanks him. Thank you for everything, Hanush.
Hmm.
Really. And then, yeah, Hanush, the bugs kind of encompass him, and he disintegrates, and then all the little pink wispy whispers come in and kind of touch it. Um, yeah, I shed a tear at that motherfucker, dude. That spider going. I was fully invested in Hanush, the friendly
Yeah.
life coach spider, dude. I was like, dude. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Wait, there's got to be a way to save him. Yeah, and then I think we get some more. At the very end, what do we get? We get a conversation between him and his wife. She finally talks to him, and I
Yeah,
think
he
she
gets
says like I
rescued by
don't.
the ISS, I'm assuming, or something similar to that. Like, because he gets rescued by like he's floating after Hanus dies. He like floats towards a nearby spaceship that kind of picks him up. Um,
Is that
and
what you got from that? I thought he just finished his mission. I figured he got back in the ship, flew back, and he was like at ISS, kind of on his way home or something.
well, I thought that he was. I thought there was a shot of him, his body, like floating to a spaceship that wasn't his own, because his own was kind of like a weird looking
Oh, because the
mod.
Koreans were behind him. They
Yeah, I
said
think that's what it
throughout
was.
the movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't remember them being looking Korean though.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
It doesn't matter. There's no accents. Um, yeah, and she's like, I don't regret that first kiss. It was a pretty amazing kiss. And I think she said, I'd do it again. And he's like, you'd kiss me again? And then I think, is that where we end?
Yeah, I think it cuts to
Spaceman?
black. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it, man. Uh, it's, what is it, an hour 59? It's almost 2 hours, hour 50. I was invested the whole time, man. It's not much going on at all, but it had me. It's a really interesting, cool movie, I thought. Spider shit is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler's really great in it. Uh, he just really by his tortured soul kind of in it.
Yeah, he's he's an underrated dramatic actor, man. Like Punch Drunk Love, Uncut Gems from a couple years ago, he was
Yeah.
fucking so good in. Yeah,
I
and he's
still
right
never
here.
finished that. I started it, but I only got like 15 minutes in, and the
Mm.
first 15 minutes, it's just like, whoa.
It-
It's a-
Funny little
so that,
anecdote about Uncut Gems. I was at home in Richland, and my parents like, oh, let's go to a movie, and they chose Uncut Gems. And obviously, I don't see very movies with them. I'm not home very often, but my stepmom left the theater probably 3 times, and I was wondering, like, damn, got some bladder things going on. I got to pee 3 times. Once I can understand, but three. And I didn't know until after the movie. She was like, "Yeah, I had to get out of theater. This movie was like way too stressful for me." I was like, "Oh," I was like, "It was a stressful movie," but yeah, I just thought it was kind of a fun little like. It was so stressful that she had to leave multiple times.
yeah, lots of cursing. I don't know. There's a need to have all the cursing. Sandman, come on with the
Uh,
cursing. Sandman, you don't need this movie. uh, yeah, I enjoyed it, man. It's fun. Uh, it's a really cool view. Um, Definitely one of those things that are really hot. These Netflix has all kinds of exclusive movies now, and a lot of them hit because it's just new on
yeah,
there and people want to check it out. But I think this one is hitting because it's just pretty interesting. They've been doing a lot of really interesting stuff. You can afford to do interesting stuff when you don't have to worry about ticket sales. You have a built-in audience that are probably going to check it out just because it's new and they're paying for it.
yeah. It sucks that the release date was this weekend because I think it's getting overshadowed by Dune. You go on the internet, everything's Dune, Dune, Dune. It's just like I think if this had separation from Dune, it probably more people would maybe check it out. And I mean, hopefully it'll find an audience. But right now, it seems like it's kind of no one's really talking about it. At least when I go on social media, which is a shame. This is a pretty solid Netflix movie.
Yeah, and I've heard good things about Dune too. Which I couldn't believe because I really didn't think the first one was that great.
Hmm.
It was kind of a slog fest, but I'll eventually check out too. Um, yeah, but this movie, I'm gonna give it it's a 7.5. I really enjoyed it. I was invested in the spider and emotional during the parts where he's realizing he's ruined his life, and he's on this 2-year mission now, stuck out in space with something that means absolutely nothing, and it really means nothing because you can't capture these particles.
Hmm.
So it's absolutely nothing gained. nothing learned because I don't think anyone's going to believe what it when he goes back. Yeah, it was just a cloud of everything and anything that ever was and will be.
Yeah.
What it was.
Mm.
So it's not going to hurt anybody. So yeah, 7.5. I really liked it. I thought it was cool.
Nice. Yeah, what I like about this movie is that I love movies where you can read it different ways. I love that kind of shit, and I think this movie is one of those movies where it's like you could watch this movie and think that it's just a imaginary friend he needs to
Hmm.
create in order to like deal with his
I really
shit.
hope it wasn't though.
Yeah, but you can also read the movie as that actually happened because, like you said, no one ever sees it, so it's like you can see where like you can get really sci-fi with it and like yeah, that really happened. So I like that aspect of the film. You can read it either way, and either way, it's still satisfying, no matter which way you look at it. um, you know, we are a little different this week. I think you're a little higher than I was. I will admit, I don't know if it grabbed me the way it grabbed you. I found it kind of dragged a little bit. And I think just the problem is that I've just seen movies that have kind of tackled the same thing in the same genre. There's a great show on Apple called For All Mankind, and a lot of the themes this movie covers that show did, so it kind of felt a little too familiar. But I think it's elevated by the unique kind of idea, so that was kind of cool. Um, and I wish they would have explored more of the wife stuff with like, I love that moral dilemma of like, do we tell somebody who's out in space this awful thing? Like, how do you handle that? I thought that was like really interesting. Um, so I kind of wish they would have spent a little more time on that, like what it means to like actually tell somebody that, and the
Yeah,
consequences of that and their mental state. Because I think Paul, God, is it Peter or Paul? One of the P guy,
it's
his
Peter.
handler, Peter.
Yep.
He even says like, I am responsible for this guy's like mental health. Like we have to like figure this whole thing out. So I thought that was really interesting. And like I said, I love the set design of the movie. I love the fact that it's they don't tell you what year it is, but it has like that 70s feel to it. A lot of like oranges and yellows, and all of the gadgetry is kind of old. Like when you cut to like the space station, the home base, I forget what you call it, like the NASA, where everyone just has the massive screen and everything. Like that whole
Yeah.
room looks straight out of the 70s. It looked really cool. Um, but yeah, I'll be honest. Like it didn't. Like I said, it sucks. I'm glad that you got like a lot out of it. But to me, it kind of dragged. I kind of knew where it was going. Paul Dano was great. Adam Sandler was great. But for me, it is one of the better Netflix movies. But it's not saying a whole lot. Not that I've seen every fucking Netflix movie, but it seems like a lot of the times they're kind of just yeah. This is definitely one of the better ones. But I was coming today with 6.7. I thought it was
Okay.
good, but not great.
It's wrong, but okay.
Yeah, it was fine.
6.7, 7.5. If you got Netflix, you got nothing to lose, man. Check it out.
Yeah.
There'll be another Adam Sandler movie on there next week. Don't worry about it. Cranking him out. I wish he would use this platform and this deal he has to kind of maybe do some legacy sequels.
Yeah,
You
totally.
know, if I could do it, another Happy Gilmore or something like that. Just give us at least maybe one legacy sequel and see how it goes. Because he hasn't done any of that, which a lot of these guys are doing now.
Hmm.
Dip your toe in that water, Adam. See how it goes. Uh, yeah, awesome. So what'd you say? 6.2,
6.7.
6.7, 7.5. Check it out. Netflix. Thanks for coming by. We appreciate it as always. We're on Spotify and Apple Music, and then here on YouTube in the flesh. Or are we? Are we a figment of your imagination in the form of a spider? I guess we'll never know. So, until we find out, until the next V's. Peace.
Peace.